Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of our Broadcom VMware edition of Ask the Expert. I'm Christine Austria, and we're joined by Matt Swann, our Server and Storage Solutions Sales Engineer. Last time, we outlined some of the high-level changes that took place when Broadcom took over VMware's product line. Today, we're going to discuss some implications of these changes. Take it away, Matt.
Thanks, Christine. So the most important thing I want to highlight in today's video is going to be the need for users to be more intentional with their CPU choices now under this new subscription model. So the previous vSphere perpetual licenses licensed a single CPU up to a maximum of 32 cores, which means that some end users may have opted for a higher core count on their CPUs than what they needed. Kind of since you're going to be paying for them anyways, whether you really used them or not. And so now under the subscription model, since it's core-based with a minimum core count of 16 cores per CPU, that means that if you previously opted for a higher core count than necessary for your workload, under this new model, you'll likely be overpaying for licenses that you don't technically need if your CPUs have more than 16 cores.
Can you give us a quick example to help illustrate this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So say your workload only required two 18-core CPUs in your server, but because of the previous perpetual licensing, you opted to use some 24-core CPUs because you got a really good deal on them, and the perpetual licenses was going to be the exact same cost since both of these fell under the 32-core count limit. But now under the core-based subscription model, you'd actually be paying licensing costs for every single core. So 24 cores per CPU times two CPUs. Even though your workload only needs two 18-core CPUs, this means you'll essentially be paying for an additional 12 CPU cores to be licensed under this new subscription model that you don't technically need, which is going to lead to some elevated unnecessary costs.
Okay, that makes sense. Are we able to give guidance to customers surrounding this critical change?
Yeah, we can absolutely assist in guiding through this new landscape, and that's actually what we'll be discussing in the next episode, so users will want to stay tuned.
Great. So why don't we touch on other implications of these changes?
Yeah, so another obvious one is that due to the shift from perpetual to subscription-based licensing, it's likely that OpEx costs are going to start increasing in the long term. So that's just something you want to make sure you take into account with these costs when you plan your annual budget. And then finally, one last thing to point out is that vSAN can now only be utilized when paired with the two higher-end vSphere bundles, which are vSphere Foundation and VMware Cloud Foundation. So you're not going to be able to use vSAN if you opt for the basic vSphere standard licensing.
Okay, thanks, Matt, for a great overview on this topic. For an in-depth detail on changes brought by the VMware acquisition, we'll add a link to our blog written by Matt in the comment section. But if you have any other questions for our sales engineers, just leave a comment or contact us, and we'll see you next time on Ask the Expert.